Buenos días, compañeros, compañeras y profesor. Bueno, para el reto de esa semana número 6 teníamos la posibilidad de leer uno de los artículos de esta revista Harvard Business Review en inglés. Entonces yo voy a hacer como la lectura, voy a hacer mi mejor intento de lectura y de pronunciación de este artículo y luego como a decir un breve resumen que entendí que dijeron. Bueno, Harvard Business Review, Organizational Culture. Make your values mean something. Your corporate values statement may be doing more harm than good. Here is how to fix it by Patrick M. Lencioni from the magazine July 2002. Take a look at the list of corporate values: communication, respect, integrity, excellence. They sound pretty good, don't they? Strong, concise, meaningful. Maybe they even resemble your own company's values, the ones you spend so much time writing, debating, and revising. If so, you should be nervous. These are the corporate values of Enron, as stated in the company annual report, and as events have shown. They are not meaningful, they are meaningless. Enron, although an extreme case, is hardly the only company with a hollow set of values. I've spent the last 10 years helping companies develop and refine their corporate values, and what I've seen isn't pretty. Most value statements are blunt, toothless, or just plain dishonest. And far from being harmless, as some executives assume, they are often highly destructive. Empty value statements create cynical and desperate employees, alienated customers, and undermine managerial credibility. Want proof? Here's what happened at a recent management conference held by a financial service company. The CEO began by proudly announcing the important role that a new set of corporate values, teamwork, quality, and innovation, will play at the firm. He then showed the assembly, including dozens of top executives from around the world, a sleek videos that illustrated each word with stock footage of world-class athletes, swelling music, and shots of employees waving awkwardly at the camera. The whole effort reeked of insincerity. When the CEO cheerfully asked audience members if they want to watch it again, he was met by a loud chorus of no. It was painfully clear that his credibility was shot. Given the risks, why do executives put so much work into developing values statements in the first place? Because they believe they have to. At least that's how they feel since 1994, when Jim Collins and Jerry Porras published "Built to Last". The book makes the case that many of the best companies adhere to a set of principles called core values, provoking managers to stamp them to off-site methods in order to conjure up some core values of their own. The values fat swept through corporate America like chicken pox through a kindergarten class. Today, 80% of the Fortune 100 tout their values publicly, values that too often stand for nothing but a desire to be current or, worse still, politically correct. The devisement of values is a shame, not only because the resulting cynicism poisoned the cultural well, but also because it wastes a great opportunity. Values can set a company apart from the competition by clarifying this identity and serving as a rallying point for employees. But coming up with strong values and sticking to them requires real guts. Indeed, an organization considering a values initiative must first come to terms with the fact that, when properly practiced, values inflict pain. They might they make some employees feel like outcasts. They limit an organization's strategic and operational freedom and constrain the behavior of its people. They leave executives open to heavy criticism for even minor violations, and they demand constant vigilance. If you are not willing to accept the pain real values incur, don't bother going to the trouble of formulating a values statement. You will be better off without one. But if you have the fortitude to see the effort through, you can learn some important lessons from the few companies that have adopted meaning corporate values. Whether their values stem directly from the vision and character of their founders or were developed later through formal programs. These companies are followed for basic imperatives in creating and implementing their values. Understand the different types of values. I once asked the CEO of a Fortune 500 networking company to tell me one of his firm's core values, a sense of urgency. He replied without hesitation, "So, I asked, your employees take quick action and hit all their deadlines?" "No," he replied. "They are complacent as hell, which is why we need to make urgency one of our core values." That response reveals the confusion underlying many values initiatives. Far from being a core value, a sense of urgency didn't even exist in the organization. It was just an inspiration, a goal for the future. Too often, executives mistake other kinds of value for core values. The resulting hot, hotspot bewilders employees and makes management seem out of touch. Companies therefore should establish some basic definition to ensure that people know what they are talking about and what they are trying to accomplish. I found I found it helpful to organize values into four categories. Core values are the deeply ingrained principles that guide all of company's actions. They serve as its cultural cornerstones. Collins and Porras succinctly define core values as being inherent and sacrosanct. They can never be compromised, either for convenience or short-term economic gain. Core values often reflect the values of the company's founders. Hewlett-Packard's "Celebrate HP Way" is an example. They are the source of a company's distinctives and must be maintained at all costs. Aspirational values are those that a company needs to succeed in the future but currently lacks. A company may need to develop a new value to support a new strategy, for example, or to meet the requirements of a changing market or industry. The CEO would claim his company's core value was a sense of urgency, for instance, was substituting an inspirational value for a core one. Aspirational values need to be carefully managed to ensure that they do not dilute the core. One company I worked with valued extremely hard work and dedication. Its employees were known to work late into evenings and on weekends. At some point, the executive team felt compelled to add work-life balance as an inspirational value, but they ultimately decided against it because doing so would confuse employees about what mattered most to the company. Permission to play values simply reflect the minimum behavioral and social standard required of any employer. They tend not to vary much across companies, particularly those working in the same region or industry, which means that by definition they never really help distinguish a company from its competitors. As CEO I work with confused core values with permissions to play values when he insists that integrity was a core value of his company. When I asked why, he said, because we refuse to hire people who misrepresent themselves on their resumes or who provide inaccurate information about previous employment experience. I pointed out that while his declaration was no doubt true, most organizations had similar policies, unless his company was willing to adopt unusually tough measures to demonstrate that it held a higher standard of integrity than most companies. Integrity should be classified as a permission to play value, not a core one. Accidental values arise spontaneously without being cultivated by leadership and take hold over time. They usually reflect the common interests of personalities of the organization employees. Accidental values can be good for a company, such as when they create an atmosphere of inclusivity, but they can also be negative force for closing new opportunities. Managers always need to distinguish core values from merely accidental ones, as confusion here can be disastrous. One fashion apparel company, the Sac Elliott Luca, initially struggled to distinguish its accidental values from its core. Located in the edgy south of Market District of San Francisco, its early employees were single adults who partied in weeknights and owned a disproportionate amount of black clothing. Accordingly, the company was accidentally imbued with the values of its employees: trendy, youthful, and cool. But as the company grew, two things became apparent to executives: there would be no way to adequately staff the company if only young, hip, sad-looking people were hired, and older, married workers who could make great contribution might be inadvertently overlooked. So the company actively worked to help employees understand that hiring only trending people had nothing to do with the SAC's core values of trust, being honest and credible, action, making independent decisions, and ownership, treating the company as if one were a founder. Even people should be recruited as long as they share the company's cherished core values. Today, the SAC is a truly diverse organization, and it has broadened its product line to appeal to a much wider market. Be aggressively authentic. Many companies view a values initiative in the same way they view a marketing launch. And one time even measured by the initial intention it receives, not the authenticity of its content. This can determine the credibility of an organization's leaders, as the CEO of the financial service company who showed an insincere video promptly discovered. Even executives who take value initiatives sadly can sabotage them by adopting blinding ideas that fail to differentiate their company from competitors. Consider the motherhood and apple pie values that appear in so many companies' value statements: integrity, teamwork, ethics, quality, customer satisfaction, and innovation. In fact, 55% of all Fortune 100 companies claim integrity is a core value, 49% espouse customer satisfaction, and 40% tout teamwork. While these are inarguably good qualities, short-term hardly provide a distinct blueprint for employee behavior. Cookie-cutter values don't set a company apart from competitors; they might fit into the crowd. For a values statement to be authentic, it doesn't have to sound like it belongs on a Hallmark card. Indeed, some of the most values-driven companies adhere to tough, if not downright controversial, values. Civil System, for instance, adheres to a set of authentic values that flagrantly counter the culture of Silicon Valley, where the company is headquartered. Professionalism, which tops Civil's list of values, set it apart from the frivolous cultures of many technology companies where pizza boxes, football tables, and sandals are the rage. Civil's employees are barred from eating at their desks or decorating their walls with more than one or two photographs. As unacceptable as this may seem, within Silicon Valley's playground-like corridors, it distinguishes civil from competitors and gives prospective and current employees a clear understanding that though success, they must act professionally at all times. Bueno, voy a dejar hasta acá el artículo, lectura del artículo, dando mi mejor esfuerzo. Bueno, lo que entendí de esta lectura es que habla de la cultura organizacional y que el título dice que como que tus valores pueden realmente significar algo. Básicamente lo que comprendí como de esa lectura de esa revista, de ese artículo, es que normalmente la gente hace estos códigos valores o códigos de conducta, códigos de ética en sus empresas, pero en realidad no las aplican, las hacen más como por cumplir. Y en una parte decía que si en realidad no van a ser valores corporativos que realmente se utilicen en la empresa, pues entonces no hagas un código de ética o un código de conducta, que no tiene mucho sentido, que en realidad debe ser algo real, que más allá de mencionar como, ay, en esta empresa se vive la integridad, el respeto, se vive el trabajo en equipo, que más allá de mencionar eso en un código de conducta, que en realidad sea algo que se viva en la empresa. Esa fue una de las partes que también entendí. También entendí que hay empresas en las que el código de conducta pone los valores como principalmente de los que fundaron la compañía y eso se vuelven como los valores corporativos. También en otra parte como que entendí que es muy importante este código de conducta si en realidad se va a usar, que sí sean valores corporativos y que no sean solamente por cumplir una ley o por decir como que la empresa tiene un código de conducta, que sea más que todo como en realidad para formar una diferencia de una compañía a otra. O sea, que los valores que pones en el código de conducta o en el código de valores de tu compañía sea un referente para demostrar que las personas y los empleados de esa compañía sí son así y que eso haga diferenciar la empresa como mejor que otras o más que mejor que otras, que esos valores diferencien la empresa y la calidad de la empresa. Eso fue como un poco el resumen de lo que entendí de este artículo. Muchas gracias, hice mi mejor intento, hasta luego.